Yeah.
Ooh, it is. It's that time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the October 15th regular meeting minutes.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
I'll follow that up with a motion to approve the October 15th non-public meeting minutes.
I'll second. Too bad. So close. Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following dates at 5 p.m. Tuesday, November 12th, and Monday, November 25th. Note that Tuesday is because town offices will be closed on Monday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. Important date to remember not this Tuesday, but the following. Tuesday, November 5th will be the general election held at Plymouth Elementary School, and polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Hope to see everybody there. Any citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall before noon, the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. And all meetings are held here in Town Hall and are held by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. All right, I don't have any notes, so town manager's report. Thank you.
So this week, a lot of time's been taken up with the budget, but union contract negotiations, we continue to work through union negotiation meetings with ASME Local 3380, the Police Department Union, and the Plymouth Professional Firefighters reviewing union proposals as presented. Bill and Ted and I met with the firefighters last week, and we'll have some additional information to share later tonight in non-public. The 25-26 budget, a large portion of time over the past 2 weeks has been spent on review of the department head's budget and CIP request and examining closely to include my recommendations. The 25-26 budget was sent to the Budget Committee for review on Tuesday, October 22nd. Ann and I met with the Budget Committee on Wednesday, October 23rd for initial review of the proposed budget and CIP. For those interested, there is a tab on the town website under the 25-26 budget timeline to keep residents informed of the budget process and timeline. Economic development, I won't read that thoroughly. I have been guaranteed that I will have proposals from both developers next week. Historical Society, I received a letter from the Historical Society that on Veterans Day 1976, 48 years ago, a time capsule was buried on the front lawn of Town Hall, which at the time was the courthouse. The Historical Society is starting to develop a plan for the retrieval of the 1976 time capsule and for burial of the 2026 time capsule, continuing the cycle for the future. The Historical Society would like to partner with the town to make this a reality. They would like permission from the Select Board to dig up the time capsule. While the time capsule was originally buried on Veterans Day in 1976, the Historical Society would propose excavation in the spring of 2026. So it's a little bit complicated because they don't know exactly where the time capsule is buried on the front lawn. So they are continuing to look through records to see if they can find out, and will keep us updated, but wanted the selectmen to know what their plan was and permission from the board to move forward with their plan. Energy Commission, I met with Ashley and Phil from the Energy Commission on Thursday, October 17th. We discussed creating an energy audit for town buildings. Phil noted a good place to start would be the EPA portfolio manager for inputting data from the town buildings. We discussed gathering baseline information to include buildings, square footage, fuel, propane and heating oil usage, and electricity usage. Jesse will be following up and meeting with Ashley and Phil on an analysis that Jesse has on the buildings and projects that Jesse has overseen since becoming facility manager to kick off the project. Town of Plymouth guidelines for municipal property use. I've been working with Lisa Ash and updating the current guidelines for use on municipal property. We ran into a problem during the late summer with the current language that we have in place that prohibits town property, public parks to religious groups. We believe that our park usage request forms are suitable because it enables the town to limit the use of such town land to one organization at a time, which is suitable to all organizations that seek town land usage. Attorney Radigan has suggested the board delete the wording in Section 4 of the Town of Plymouth Board of Selectmen Guideline for Use on Municipal Property that says in part, not intended to be used as a place for worship or sectarian groups. So that number 4 in that policy will only state all municipal property are considered public parks. Lisa and I will finalize this document and bring it to the select board in November.
What was the issue we ran into?
We had not allowed a religious group to use the common for that purpose, which was in the initial policy that we've had. Since then, through Attorney Radigan, we found that that's not legal to limit that use for religious or sectarian purposes. So that's the language we'll be changing, taking that piece out and just saying are for public use.
So that limits, so the law did not allow us to limit it for that purpose?
Correct.
Do we,
That's current law.
Current law, and we received a letter from an attorney from a Watchtower group, which is a group that oversees these types of activities. And John said, absolutely, they're correct. The law does not allow you to prohibit that type of use in a public park.
Types of use, commercial are prohibited?
Religious and sectarian.
Right, but that will be allowed now.
That will be.
So are there other groups now that aren't allowed, or
No,
commercial is allowed?
as long as they're not selling.
Okay,
But we'll bring you back
okay,
a revised
curious,
that will follow the law.
okay.
That John has given us guidance on.
so that means any religious group can use our commons and parks for whatever purpose they'd like?
As long as they fill out a park usage form, and there's not another group at the same time that had previously asked for that date.
Okay.
Pemmy Valley Habitat, there was a meeting held on Tuesday, October 23rd, with regards to a parcel of property that is owned by Pemmy Valley Habitat, located on Tenny Mountain Highway behind Restore. I was unable to attend the meeting, but Bill and Mary Ann were able to attend the meeting to understand better what the theme of the meeting entailed. I met with Jess Dutal on Monday, October 21st for our monthly meeting. We recapped the Pirate Party and discussed other current events. And that concludes my report.
Bill and Marianne, any additional information on the Pemmy Valley Habitat?
One kind of interesting thing that was offered was that there was a question about having like a dead-headed road that accommodated too many, accommodations. Like 50 houses were intended to build there. But they already had like a signed agreement with Boulder Point, and they have the ability to go around through Spears property and come down Boulder Point Road. So that's a non-issue now. That is a non-issue.
There are a bunch of other
Yeah.
issues. This is about 55 acres, I think, and there may be all kinds of mixed housing, single family, maybe townhouse. It's really, in the infant stages. They will be looking for potentially something in the town.
Well, specifically because there's no water and sewer out there. And in order to at least, accommodate that, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
That land abuts where Midstate and Spear are,
Yeah.
and Tractor Supply.
Yep.
Wasn't there some consideration in the future of having a road
Town West Road, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming up to where the Mid-State and
Yes.
Tractor Supply and,
It seems like Town West was kind of like a dream. It's maybe difficult to actually kind of make it happen. But it would cross like several pieces of property that are not town-owned. And I know a gentleman in the audience had done research as far as like what sites might accommodate cutting a road through there. But
In talking with Joseph, and I believe he had follow-up conversation after the meeting, is that they're planning additional meetings to discuss that and what type of grant opportunities Pemmy Valley Habitat should be looking at before coming to the town and asking for funds. So I know there's more to
I mean,
come.
yeah, I would say if whatever we did or helped them do out there led towards or moved us closer to some sort of parallel road, that would be a much easier sell than just, putting another cul-de-sac community up in that space.
Right, I think an opportunity Pemmy Valley Habitat has is to work with a commercial developer, which would be better suited in the type of housing that could be provided in that area. Not that that would limit it to any certain type of housing, but if you're selling both high-end houses or condos, it adds to the infrastructure that can pay back that type of cost for putting in a road and water and sewer, et cetera. But I know there's more meetings to come, but I don't think anything has been scheduled as of yet.
All right. Any other questions for Scott? All right. Our first item tonight is the approval of a certificate of authority for grant in the amount of $11,812.50 for updating a local hazard mitigation plan.
What this is, Zach, is that every 5 years, we have to re-up our hazard mitigation plan, and it's hard to believe that we're coming up on 5 years, but this would take place in 2026. But in order to secure the funding through Department of Safety, Homeland Security, we have to apply for it now to get approval through the Executive Council for 2026.
So you just need to be granted authority?
The grant is for help me with that, 11,000,
81250.
and the town's portion would be,
We're 80, is that an 80/20?
yeah, it's 80/20. So,
So what I have in front of me, first of all, is the grant grant agreement application, and that needs to be signed by members of the board. We will not be holding a public hearing on this, even though it's over $10,000, until we actually get the money. The first item is the grant agreement. Signatures on the first page and initials on every other page to follow.
So effectively, this is a grant application that we're signing?
It is, yep. And then, once that gets approved, I have a certificate of authority to allow Scott to be the signing agent on that grant from here forward.
So who needs to sign this? It's everybody?
The board needs to sign it on that page right there, and then initial every other place. And if you want me to pull it aside, I can until after the meeting, if that helps.
Scott, what's involved in updating?
a lot. We have to, what the state does is we'll hire a consultant that takes us through updating the hazard mitigation plan. We have to hold a series of meetings to include our surrounding communities that we partner with in hazard mitigation, and update all different sections of the risk mitigation plan. And then we submit to FEMA and to Department of Safety for approval of that plan. And once it's approved, it's implemented with the town. So we did, like in this one here, I imagine that we'll be able to take Loon Lake Road culvert out of our hazard mitigation plan, but we may still leave in Just for example, Hunt Road East, which needs to have work done on it. We update all of our shelter-in-place sites. We update all of our public health agencies that are involved if an emergency took place in Plymouth. So it's quite extensive as you go down through.
Has Lakes Region Planning Commission been any help at all? Or I know they help other towns with.
Yeah, we'll seek a quote from them.
Okay,
They do it for a cost. Typically, there's 3 agencies in the North Country that provide this service to towns and cities, and what the state does is seek bids for it, and then they award the contract to the low bidder.
okay.
And Lakes Region Planning Commission is one. There's a firm in Twin Mountain, and there's a firm in Salisbury, New Hampshire, that assists towns and cities with this.
Is the threat of a nuclear attack included in this?
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve this application for the certificate authority and the grant in the amount of $11,812.50 for for updating the local hazard mitigation plan and for Zach to be the signatory on the form.
The authorization.
The
Second.
authorization. Pass that to Zach.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 There's lots of.
We're only doing 3 of us?
Correct.
As many as you can fit in there.
There just aren't any other signature lines.
That's why I was a little thrown off at first. It's like, there's only 3. So maybe Mary Ann and you'll get a pass.
I would take up like 2.
We know.
But you
And,
sign, you sign faster than the other two.
Bill,
Yeah.
you missed about half your initials.
Let's just go ahead and throw them in there, would you?
Throw them in there.
There's a lot of pages here. For some reason, that yellow doesn't like to be written on by my pen. Sort of smears on the yellow. I've got 1 left to do. I've committed to the smear.
Or he passes it back to Bill.
I assume there's nothing on these ones. Starting on the first page.
This
Yep.
is the one you actually have to sign.
I gotta sign this one too. Where am I signing this?
You need to write your name in there if you would. I wasn't sure you were gonna be here, that's why I left your name out. I'm sorry,
Yep.
Zach.
No, that's fine.
And then sign it, and I'll notarize it in the morning.
And then I'm signing down in the
Yes.
attest.
Yes.
And then do I repeat my name and title down here?
Or I can type it in or write it in, or we'll make it work.
I'll write it.
If I missed half last time, I only got 1 this time, so
Was there 2, right?
I didn't see the other one, but.
There.
Oh. Sign this one.
Yeah, and then also initial apparently.
Right at the bottom. Please. Thank you.
Instructions were sign this and initial every subsequent page.
All right.
Almost got it all the way there. All right, next up we have a highway safety grant.
This is the highway safety grant that the police department applies for every year. Part of this grant is $4,800 funded by federal government, $1,200 by the town, and it covers speed enforcement, DWI enforcement, and distracted driving enforcement. And that totals the grant. The application has been completely filled. We just need the approval of the board for submitting this grant as we move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 NHOS Highway Safety Grant in the amount of $4,800 for the Town of Plymouth Police Department.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I was waiting for the thing to, we have to sign anything? Oh, no signature on that one. I was waiting for it to float around. All right. And continuing with the spirit of grants this evening, we have Amy Lee here to discuss a grant towards the purchase of a ballot counting machine.
Thanks for having me. I also have the assistant moderator, Lad Rain, here with me. And him and I have discussed which machine we would like going forward. I've given you all a pros and cons list. For the RSA, the select board needs to be the one to make the decision about what machine to purchase. The state is giving us a total of $3,500 towards the cost of the ballot counting device. And I have secured the grant funds for $20,000 to make up the difference of that. So essentially, it's going to cost the town no money to purchase our new voting machine. My recommendation to the board would go with the Voting Works option, just because the technology is newer. I did have the opportunity to go and do a demo for both machines, and I personally prefer the Voting Works. It's a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can do the write-in adjudication via the computer, and it's much easier. It's a newer, updated machine, so that would be what I would recommend to the
Is
board.
this the one that takes a picture so you can look at it afterwards?
Yes. Yep,
So upside down or backwards, doesn't matter?
doesn't matter.
Not that it does today.
Right,
We wouldn't want to step
Not
backwards. though.
folded?
yeah. It's still, we'll take it all.
They will. Take
Yep.
folded ones.
Yep. You know, we have to bend them and put them straight.
Yeah, on the ruler.
Yeah. That would be my recommendation.
Ooh, either way though, we're gonna have to search through all the ballots for write-ins, huh?
Yes.
You do now, don't you?
No, we do not.
For,
Write-ins are all diverted.
right, they're
yeah.
converted,
They're,
correct.
they're all diverted, so they're separated out. and then-
However, with each machine, the write-ins, for Voting Works specifically, the adjudication process is done on the computer. So you can, an image of every ballot actually gets imaged on either machine.
So it goes up in the cloud?
No, they stand alone.
Yeah,
This is New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually got a speech last week. I was at a conference down at Durham, and I had the Secretary of State there talking about this, so I got to hear about it again.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming not for use this year.
No, it will not be used until the March election, if it comes down. Yeah.
Asking.
It is,
Delivered
it will not
program.
be, to make that clear, that it will
Okay.
not be for this
on these
election in November. It won't be
We have it in
used till
time
March.
for the town election?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the time frame's like about a month once I order it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I have to, let the state know which machine I'm gonna
Trade
use.
in the old one?
Right,
You
we
don't have
need
to trade the old one in. You hold on to it.
Just in case.
You can't be used anymore after
Oh.
a certain
So it-
date,
so
so
it
it's out
becomes-
of
Give it to-
date,
give it to
becomes
Bob as a token of our
part.
appreciation.
Go up to Historical Society.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm
market
not sure what this, and
anything?
the state hasn't given us a plan of what they're gonna do with all those voting machines, so I don't know if
Sell 'em to a-
LHS Dominion is gonna collect them and use them for parts. I'm not sure.
Foreign country might find them.
Yeah, not sure.
So
So,
did you say bury it for the time capsule?
right,
Assuming there is one under the.
yeah.
I think I remember when they put that in there.
Yeah.
Reading
no,
the
same here.
pros list,
Yes,
it says as a pro
yep,
that there's a warning chime for under or over votes.
yeah. So it goes like ding, to like let you know.
Having stood there and processed many thousand ballots at the machine. That does not sound like a pro to me. And in all seriousness, though,
Yeah.
because when you get an overvote or an undervote,
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do about it standing at the ballot machine.
right. It just
So
warns.
telling and warning the patron that you just screwed up your ballot,
It gives them an opportunity, though, to get a new ballot.
does it give them, or does it just give a warning chime?
No, it spits it out, and they have an opportunity, the moderator has an opportunity to spoil that ballot and give the resident a new ballot. That's the point of it. Just
Okay,
like
so
now.
they-
Like right now, if it's an overvote, it spits it out, doesn't accept it, it would do the same thing. And then the resident now, well, if the law changes in New Hampshire, because an overvote, you can't be cast, but if the law changes in New Hampshire, then they could say, no, I don't care, this is what I want my ballot to be, and they can hit accept ballot, and it would suck it in.
What do you do with an
But that's
absentee?
against the law in the state of New Hampshire as of right now.
It's against the law to do what?
To have a machine process an overvote. It's not something that the state does.
So the way that our current machine works is if you have an overvote,
Spits it out.
it spits it out, and then the person puts it in the manual cast slot on the
Yeah.
side of the ballot.
Correct.
So it's still cast.
Yeah, but they have an opportunity to redo their ballot if they do an overvote. That's the point of it spitting it out, is so that gives the voter an opportunity. And there was, I think, 9 that happened in January that had to be spoiled and redone.
What about absentee ballots? Do we feed them in too?
Same.
Do
Yep.
this the same way.
And if one of them gets pushed back,
Then we would put it as a hand count.
okay.
Yep.
Did you test the folding and stuff, and or were you able to test these, or,
I only saw the demo.
yeah?
I haven't, but there is other, I did speak with the clerk in Moulton Borough and Ashland. Moulton Borough currently uses this machine and loves it. And Ashland, I know, is gonna be purchasing the same machine. So we'll have other, people in our area that use the same machine. So if there was something that, I needed to troubleshoot, I could call another clerk, or the company would be there within a region to come and help us. And I did call the company and ask that, because that was one concern that I had with Voting Works, was that they were not in state. And the owner of the company himself called me back and said that we anticipate that on election day that there'll be staff in New Hampshire within regions, so that if something came up, they would be able to get to you. So, I
But
thought,
Ashland really hasn't, it's not in use in Ashland.
not yet,
So it's really down to 2, Woodstock and Moulton Borough
yeah,
had to have used it in the past.
yeah. And Loudon and Atkinson, I think, are the other 2 that he told me that use it. But it's not my decision to make. It's up to you as a board. So if you would like to keep the same technology that we currently have with a new upgrade, then I would go with LHS. But I prefer personally, as a clerk and the moderator and I, or, future moderator and I agree that we would prefer to have Voting Works, but it's not our decision to make.
And these are the only 2 options?
Those are the only 2 options that have been vetted and approved by the state.
Having listened to the presentation, I would concur with Amy. Not that that should carry any extra weight, but
Do you know if some of the small towns still do hand counting?
There is towns that still do hand count, yes. I do not want to be a town that hand counts, so,
Nope,
neither do I.
sure
Yeah.
don't.
yeah. But yes, there is still towns that hand count.
I value my sanity.
Any concern on the ballot? It says here that we can create our own ballot in some of them, and the other one doesn't indicate that. The ballots that we talk about, like for town meeting?
Yeah, so I don't anticipate that I ever want to be responsible for creating my own ballot, but I have the option to design it and print it myself if I want to.
Okay.
Right now, we send out for our ballots to be printed elsewhere.
They will still be,
They will still be able to do that, yes. But it's an option if we ever decide that we wanted to print them in-house, which would be a lot.
Do you have any
Any
estimate?
difference in cost of machines?
Yeah, the Voting Works machine is, I believe, $8,000.
Yep.
8,500, and it's $500 per year, so it's a little bit more expensive. And then the LHS machine is $6,000, and it's $300 yearly. But then every 3 years, you have to spend $200 to replace the battery.
Like you said, it's gonna be purchased out of grant money that's available.
Correct.
And there's no warranty on that one?
There is a warranty on both of them.
Yeah, 5-year on
Yeah, a
the,
5-year on the Voting Works and a 1-year for LHS.
Okay.
Dominion, I guess is the.
So 3,500 is the only amount that Secretary of State would swing, their.
That's
voluminous
what they
harbor
gave
money?
us, and I was happy to have some. Some is better than none. I was shocked actually when I got the email
Oh, yeah?
that they were advocating and setting money aside
There was
for
a-
it.
there
I
was-
thought we
there was
would, as a town, have to
Oh,
take
yeah.
on the whole cost. So
There
Didn't
was at
we
least one
accept a
House bill
grant
to go after
from
that
something
money,
else?
actually, but.
She has a $20,000 grant for election oversight, I think,
Correct,
or.
yep.
right.
or-
So between
the-
the one from the state and the one you previously, we accepted, this is covered, either
Correct.
one.
correct.
Perfect.
Great.
Do you have any estimate on how many people might vote?
Nope.
A bunch.
A bunch.
Everybody has a right.
All of them.
So, however many people show up.
How many ballots did you,
We received 4,300. We count them tomorrow and test the machine tomorrow.
that should be more than what?
It should be more. Yeah, they usually send more. And then if for some reason I run out of regular ballots, I can utilize my extra absentee ballots. And if I run out of those ballots, I have the legal right to make photocopies of the ballots, and I have to sign every single one. So, but generally we have leftover ballots. We've never run out of ballots.
Yeah, really.
We always ship back a box of unused.
Yes,
People can still register to vote, though, on Election Day,
they
right?
can. That's the only way that they can right now. Because
Do they have to have their electric light bill with them, or just their license?
if their license has their Plymouth address, then that's sufficient.
All good questions, huh?
Absolutely. I answer them every day, Neil.
Looks like, what do you have, about 3,400 in 2020,
Yeah, I'm assuming.
roughly?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't the clerk then. It was much easier to just go vote.
Well, the university's down a little.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly have no idea how many people are turning out. A lot.
I bet it'll be about the same as 2020.
It's my guess.
That'd be my guess,
Yeah.
in that 3,400 range.
I don't know. We should. It's fun.
So
All right, let's do a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the use or the purchase of the Voting Works as recommended and approve the grant in the amount of $3,500 towards the purchase of the ballot counting machine.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you both for all your efforts. I know there was a lot of research and a lot of work to get here, and it's all paid for by other people. It's a win all around.
Better than that.
Amy,
Can't beat it.
and just do a PO and bring it to
Zach,
Scott.
I do have one of the purchase order that I pushed for today to get in front of the board tonight, if I could go ahead
Yes,
with that.
please.
So I have a purchase order to pave 2 additional roads, Oak Ridge Road and Carmel Drive. So as of right now, we have finished all of the 2024 road work that, with the exception of these 2 roads, that were on the road evaluation program. We have money in the budget for these 2 roads totaling $28,485. The problem is that we only had one company that had time to do this work in the fall. So I would ask that we waive the competitive bid process of getting 3 quotes. And one reason I do that is that this company is charging us the same cost per square yard as we paid on the other roads that we paved this year that were the low bid. So I would ask that we approve this purchase order for Oak Ridge Road, which, if you've driven up there was a lot of work done by the co-op this year, and the road really deteriorated over the winter last year. And they probably won't be able to plow the bottom section of the road if we don't get a shim and top coat on that. And then the same with Carmel Drive, where it wore away near the cul-de-sac area. But this would take care of these two roads, which were outlined in the road evaluation for 2024 as well, to complete all of the roads that were outlined in that for 2024. And in 2025, we've worked with the Highway Department to make sure that all of the roads that have been outlined in 2025 will be taken care of as well with the budget monies that we have.
What was the amount on that again, Scott? 28
The
what?
amount was $28,485.
Where's Oak Ridge?
Oak Ridge is up off of Thurlow Street on the right-hand side above Carmel Drive.
Okay.
And they're gonna do all the way to the cul-de-sacs.
No,
No?
no, they're going to do 500 plus feet on Oak Ridge to get us into the
The hill.
good paved area. And the same with Carmel Drive for where we had to do some drainage work this past summer to replace a
So they're gonna
culvert.
do that steep hill.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the paving of Oak Ridge and Carmel Drive for the sum of $28,000, $28,485,
You want me to
and
sign it?
waive
Yeah.
the competitive bid for this particular project.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
That's great. On the note of paved roads, I've had numerous people thank us for paving Emerson. That section of road,
Was horrible.
Yeah.
so bad. It was so bad.
Emerson Street.
But now it's kind of nice. Okay, anything else in the signature file, Ann?
I just have one other item. I have a notice of intent to cut. This property is on Pike Hill Road, and it is a 68-acre lot. 49 acres is planned for cutting.
And one other thing for public information is trick or treating is this Thursday, October 31st, on the Main Street from 4:30 to 5:30. There will be activity in the common. The police department, town hall will be in the common giving out candy, as well as the Main Street businesses. And the road will be closed from the roundabout to Highland Street. And then trick or treat in Plymouth is from 5:30 to 7:30. And thank you to the Recreation Department for putting this together and getting everything scheduled for the children of the community.
Always a great event.
We'll have dancing witches this year, right?
There will be dancing
Very exciting.
witches at 5 o'clock.
Nice.
Wow.
Don't look at me.
I wouldn't say anything.
Committee reports.
Did not have a meeting since our last.
All right, planning board. Neil, was there a planning board meeting?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I got it right here. We had interesting meeting. We worked on an update of site plan review application from Brandon Hiltz on the Beach Hill Road property that formerly belongs to the, I think it was the Averys, or was it Averys?
Yep.
And we received a letter from a citizen regarding a proposal on temporary sign zoning We discussed a petition amendment, and we'll probably have it for discussion at another meeting,
What is
another
it?
work session.
What does that mean, temporary sign zoning?
What that was, Zach, was there was concern with regards to the penny sale signs that were put up. And those are considered temporary signage, which can be in the towns right away. This individual has concern with it, with regards to how it was placed, and just offered some additional language with regards to temporary signs as of that sort.
Gotcha. Thank you.
There was also a letter regarding view shed issues, which we're going to discuss at future work session discussion. And CIP issues, list of members for the committee, there have been no changes. The same members have been approved. And Three Lakes Landscaping, who came in with a proposal to do an expansion at their site out on Tenny Mountain Highway, has hired Brown Engineering, and we've given them an extension of 2 months to prepare the report. And hopefully the application will not have to be re-noticed, and we agreed to continue it to November. Back to Brandon Hiltz again. On number 113 Beach Hill Road, which is on the left, there's an entrance to a lower field, which abuts the fairgrounds, and I think the property is 78 acres, including the farmhouse and the barns, which are a little further up Beach Hill Road. We required him to have a stormwater plan and a septic plan and an erosion control plan, and we wanted third-party engineering review for the scope of the use that he plans. He is actually applying for a permit to have vehicle sales and repairs, and there was some discussion back and forth regarding whether he needed a special exception from the zoning board, and the highway department, they have reviewed the application, and they had concerns regarding heavy trucks because Brandon owns a construction company with many heavy trucks and construction vehicles. The highway department is requiring that he have a driveway that has 2 lanes wide so as to not impede traffic flow for safety reasons. And Brandon said that he has the permit from the highway department, and he's got his surveyor, design engineer, has put that into his plan. We wanted a parking site plan, but I think it's going to be waived or maybe limited. We're suggesting that the town engineer, McNally, review the plan option. He has no lighting plan. All lighting is going to be on the walls, just facing down. And the number of vehicles allowed to be a condition agreed upon is 40 vehicles on the property. And his hours, he has stated that his hours of operation will be 7 to 5, never on Sunday. And We went through findings of fact. He has an improved septic design now. His designated use is vehicle sales and service, which is allowed under the zoning ordinance. The plan meets all setbacks. There will be no earth material processing. He has an approved drainage plan. All the lighting is going to be downcast inside of his lot. He has an erosion control plan, and he made a lot of progress. His site plan has received conditional approval, and all federal and state and local laws and permits must be in place. And we all voted in favor, except I abstained, because I have done business with him, and I didn't want to compromise. So it was approved, his conditional approval.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Any questions for Neil?
No.
All right, thanks, Neil. Campus Community Council, no report.
No report?
Plymouth Schools District,
No report till
I got to sign.
next time, but I think next time,
It's on a different day, but I can't remember what day it's on. It's not on the normal first Monday of the month because of the election.
oh, okay.
Moved it.
Do you want
I
this,
think
Scott?
it's a Thursday, but I don't
Thank
know
you.
off the
so we
top of my
probably
It's a
don't
weird
have,
day.
yeah.
head which date it is.
And I believe the high school one is on Tuesday, Election Day. I don't know if they've moved it.
I think they did.
Okay, Conservation Commission.
Our last meeting coincided with the Conservation Commission meeting, and I have not received notes from it.
All right, capital improvement. Did they meet this week or did budget? I mean, last week, or was it budget that met? last
Budget committee meeting last week, we did go through the CIP, and what the plan is to meet after one of the budget meetings that have been set up with the CIP committee.
week? Okay. When is
That has
the
not been scheduled yet.
the next budget committee meeting hasn't been scheduled yet?
The next budget committee was supposed to be scheduled for November 4th, but I received an email from Mike this afternoon saying he wants to move that to the 14th, which would put the next meeting on November 7th. I think I sent you, did I send you this? I sent you the schedule, right, Zach?
You might have. I was just realizing.
Okay.
I don't know if I put that in my calendar. So I just need to make
So
sure
I think the
do that.
meeting's going to be the 7th, the 12th, and the 14th.
7th, 12th, and 14th. Okay. Just got to remind myself to put those in. Any notes from the advisory budget committee meeting that just happened?
Sure. So we presented a budget that Ann and I have been through and made quite a few cuts on the budget. I will say, based on what we have today, and there will be some adjustments as we continue to move through, based on union negotiations and things of that nature. But right now, the budget is down by almost $600,000, and which would be a decrease in the tax rate of about 28 cents per thousand of valuation. And that's going through really with a fine tooth comb, a lot of work that Ann did.
That budget is down that much from what the department heads
From what the
wanted.
department heads had submitted.
So
Okay.
it's still up just a little, but
Is that the proposed budget, or?
But overall, if the budget that Ann and I put together would lower the tax rate to about, the town portion of the tax rate to somewhere around $10.90 per thousand, which would be a decrease of anywhere from 21 to 25 cents per thousand valuation. And that's
then-
including everything that we had outlined in the CIP initially. So I think we're in really good shape from that perspective right now. But again, other adjustments to be made.
Right. But that's a good jumping off point anyway.
I mean, one good thing that I just want to mention, and it's worked by many people, including this board here, is that as of 6/30/24, our 23-24 unassigned fund balance is now $2 million, which puts us right in the range with what the recommendation is from DRA, from 7 to 15%. Keeping in mind, that's total budgets of the school, the town, and the county of about $22 million. So we're sitting very nicely right now, which I would like to stay in that range, but we may be able to use some funds for the Highland Street project, the Emerson Street project, in lieu of what tax rate might be. So we're in a really good financial position right now.
Good. That's great news. I was worried it was going to be another big
The-
jump.
the
We don't
voters
want any
should
more
know
big
that.
jumps.
We don't need them.
Should be told.
That's great. Well, looking forward to hearing more about that as those meetings continue. LRPC?
Neil and I attended the commissioners meeting last week, and the focus was E911 mapping. And I was a little concerned about like why they had to have a redundant methodology for mapping, because they could have just like accepted like Google and stuff, but they basically mapped every residence in order for them to respond to it.
You've got to have roads that are distinct. You can't have like a road with a similar name to another road. Like one might be Bailey Road and the other Bailey Hill Road, you know? You can't have those two. They got to be distinct.
Interesting.
It was kind of interesting. And I'm not sure when the next executive committee meeting is. I think it's probably next week, but I haven't seen anything on it yet. That's it.
Very congenial meeting. Very, very
It's good.
nice.
Yeah.
There wasn't any yelling and screaming.
I would kind of hope not. Parks and Rec?
No report.
Parking and Economic Development?
Nope. Still waiting, but we'll get there.
Energy Commission?
I think Scott may have mentioned, met with, Phil and Grace on energy audits, so.
Get a chance to mention to the school about lighting and working with the Energy Commission?
Say that again, I'm
We
sorry.
talked last time about lighting for a football field and I think the soccer field, and we talked a bit about, having them work with the Energy Commission. Thought you were gonna mention something?
I did mention it to
Okay.
Ashley, and she was gonna reach out to the school.
Cool, thank you.
Perfect. Nothing on PSU negotiations till spring. Chamber of Commerce?
No meeting since.
Erlac?
We have a meeting tomorrow night.
All right. Police and Fire?
Just got back the feasibility study, so Kevin will
Great.
be scheduling a meeting.
I'll be looking forward to an email.
Bill, on Perlac, didn't that campground at Exit 29 withdraw their application for expansion?
In Thornton,
Yeah,
did they?
I believe they did.
I would hope so, but,
I'm pretty sure they did.
yeah.
My son's on the Thornton Planning Board.
Oh, okay,
He's the one that told me.
yeah. Yeah, they had some rather, not illegal, but contrary to DES regulations, the desire for expansion and stuff, so I'm glad if it was denied,
It
I'm
was a
glad.
pretty hot topic up there.
Yeah.
Last one, union negotiations?
Scott covered that in his report, so I have nothing more to add unless Bill
Nothing
has.
to add.
We're going to cover it in non-public, I believe.
All right, public comments.
Here we go.
Under economic development in Tenny Mountain, I have researched all the businesses that are out on the commercial industrial zone. Did all the administrative back mapping, inventory all the property owners, inventory the types of business and the property owner by the counter detail. And I'm using the North American Industry Classification System and evaluate the potentials for that zone. And the reason I do that is because that system came online in 2000, and it's now the way you evaluate the financial viabilities of industry. There's a company out of New York, it's called Risk Management Associates, that evaluates all financial viabilities of industries traded on Wall Street. So you can go into the website, use their 6-digit code of your business, and it'll give you a single sheet paper, executive brief, the return on investment per unit of measure for your particular industry. So this gives you the initial evaluation finances of your industry within marketing areas, of which there are 4. There's a 10-mile local, 25 regional, 50 is industry, and the state's marketing area is 400 miles. There's 2 countries and 9 states that we do business with. And there are people that come up here from Pennsylvania every year to Plymouth. So there is a marketing area. But the other thing you really want to focus on is a critical part, and that's the part I've been doing with the Main Street infrastructure, because the infrastructure is the part that determines whether or not that industry you would like to see happen is going to be financially viable and can fit in our town. So part of the process is to look at there's 1,185 industries in the North American system in the 20 sectors. So what you look at is the principal industries, which I've inventoried, and then you look at the supporting industries, the ones that will work with, to leverage what we have, and then to see how they interface and the traffic load, the load pattern of that industry, because your infrastructure of your roads, the quality of your ways to get there, parking, stormwater drainage, all of your utility systems are designed to the load of that industry. So this is where it gets confusing, conflicting, and frustrating, and you actually need, I got a lot of large papers to list them out and go back and evaluate a specific event to see if in fact it would fit Plymouth. And as I have said several times to people, Plymouth is neither Kansas or Texas, which means it's neither flat nor large. We only have so many acres left of our village commercial zone area that we could, quote, do development. Same thing, there's 2,000 acres of the commercial development out on Tenny Mountain. And so what you really want to look for is the right return on investment per square foot of an industry, and to see that your infrastructure that is going to be put in there, which would be roads, stormwater drainage, your utility package, all that would make it work, would have a return on investment as sustainable. So I have all of that reference material. The other thing we do, when I was an airport engineer, I'd take 300 acres. I put planes, trains, automobiles, grandma with a stroller, Billy with a bike, and I have to go through all the federal, state, municipal laws, rules, regulations, codes, and standards, industry standards, National Fire Protection Association, International Building Code, and insurance codes and standards, book, page, paragraph, and chapter. In an airplane business, we say when the weight of the paperwork equals the weight of the plane, it will fly. And that's how the process of doing the financial viability of the town, she has that. We've had that to our meeting on the capital improvement planning. We need to do the same methodology for our, quote, economic development. My process right now is the economic viability of our existing Main Street business community based on our vehicular, parking, and pedestrian infrastructure. Those are our key elements that we are having trouble with right now because they're out of date, out of code, and incomplete. I'm available. Also, I was on the committee for that all hazard mitigation plan when it came, and the reason I was the one who was in charge of all of the seacoast emergency response, resource supplies and equipment. It was stationed, it was housed at the Air Force Base, and I was the person in charge of all that equipment and maintained it and deployed it as necessary for any natural or man-made disaster, which we had several. And right now, the other previous meeting was Plymouth is scheduled to get somewhere between 50 and 75,000 people from the seacoast should Seabrook have an order issue. So you have to wonder, where are you going to put 50,000 people in the town of Plymouth? Good planning. Anyway, that's it.
Thanks, Frank.
All right, any other public comments? Anybody online?
I only see a 2 there. I'm assuming that 2
That's
is
just us?
us.
Usually. All right,
All right, I'll make a motion to go into non-public accordance to RSA 91-A:3, A, personnel.
A second?
Ed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Zach, aye. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Neil?